Welcome back everyone, Mudford here. Welcome to the shop. I'm out here in the garage tonight working on Grace's Can-Am DS90X. Main problem it has is it sounds like there's marbles in the transmission. So I'm going to go ahead and tear it apart here and see what we can see. Just to warn you right now, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just tearing it apart. And hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. Go something like this. We're done here in the fender well too. So it looks like the first thing we should do is just get a Phillips screwdriver and get this cover off here. So we'll go ahead and do that. 3 screws. So once I got the cover off, I remembered something. The exhaust goes right here, right in front of this. That's just going to be great. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this shifter out of the way. Get this sprocket off. These all look like probably 10s, maybe an 8 on that. We're going to have to get this exhaust loose over here on that head. And then up in this region here. So that's what we're going to be trying to do. Yeah, I'm going to start working on that. I'm sure it'll be great. So I got the bolt out on the shifter lever knobber here. And also got the 2 bolts out on the bracket, and then we'll drop the bracket down in here and got it wedged in there. But what a guy probably should do before he starts prying on this really hard is probably take this plastic cap off and get it out of the way, because I bet you these are probably expensive and hard to get. Yeah, let's do that. That seems like a good idea. We'll stuff this down there to keep garbage from getting in our engine oil. Seems like the right thing to do. Got the jack stand setting on the axle here on both sides, so the wheels are free. When I try to take these bolts out, it just kind of spins the sprocket. Well, and that's not good. So we'll probably end up swinging this around and smashing my hand somehow. We'll see. We'll see what we can come up with. Okay, I got the bolts loose. Didn't take too much work. I just got the ratchet up like this. And then got in here with the old hammer hand. Did some karate onto it. Got them broke free. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this off. So I got the shifter off. I'm going to go ahead now and get these 2 exhaust nuts off, and then get the bolt off up here. And then maybe we can get this to move. Probably not though. No, it probably won't move a lot because it's gonna hit something. But yeah, we'll see. Probably end up having to take the whole engine loose. So I got the muffler thing off that was right here. You can see it's all loose, but that really didn't do me a lick of good. Looks like I'm gonna have to go up in here and get the whole carburetor and all this mess off. Probably right here. Get it out of the way. And then I'm gonna have to take every one of these motor mounts loose. One there, one there. And then I'm gonna have to raise this thing up just to get this dumb pipe out of the way. So I went ahead and got the motor pretty loose here. Ended up taking the starter off and wedging it up in here out of the way. Only thing I haven't found yet is how to disconnect this. I know it's up in here somewhere. So I just keep finding more and more problems. So I thought I was going to be able to just get this cover off, and then no. Exhaust pipe's in the way. So I got to take the motor loose to get the exhaust pipe out. I might just as well take the engine out and get it on the bench. Maybe clean it up, Zeus it up with some brake parts cleaner before I open it, because it's pretty dirty right where the seam is. Get all this kind of cleaned up some. So it runs all the way over here. All the way over here. So that's nice. So that's just a great idea. So now I have to cut all these zip ties so it can run all the way over here and then all the way back here instead of just going here. So I got the wiring undone now. I'm just gonna set that like right in there. Everything should be set now. We're gonna push her forward, get her off of these mounts, and then just kind of swing her off to the side, take it out that side. And then at that point, we might as well just leave this exhaust in here because not even gonna matter at this point. And I took the oil cap off so I wouldn't break it when I was prying on the shifter and promptly lost it. So hopefully that turns up. So I found the plug, which is good. And now we just kind of wiggled this out a little bit. Got the back end over. I think we're just about out of here. I think it should just about fall out onto the ground now at this point. Yep. Yep. So it's out. So now we gotta find a clean workbench, which that could be a little difficult, but we're gonna get this cleaned up a little bit and yeah. So I was able to find a workbench finally. I have about 27 workbenches in the garage and they're just completely covered with parts and tools and other various junk. So I guess the thing to do is to work outside on the tailgate here, which is nice anyway because sprayed a bunch of this brake parts clean all over. Got her cleaned up a little bit. And yeah, this stuff feels really good if you just spray a little bit right in your eyeballs. Seems to happen sometimes when you get a deflection off, but yeah, that feels real good. So I think we're ready now, finally, to knock this cover off. So there's just a bunch of bolts that take a 8mm socket here, and then this cover should come right off. Yeah, my plan was to just pop this off right in the quad before the exhaust was by there, but we're not going to talk about that anymore because we really don't want to even think about that. So we're going to move ahead. So now what we want to do is take all these bolts out, pull this off, look into there, see like a bad bearing or something, go on to the interwebs on the Rocky Mountain ATV MC website, find it, order it, have it not cost $250 for the bearing, and this is a big and here, not on back order for 67 weeks. So we're really hoping to get this together here in like a week or less. So, but what's going to happen is I'm going to take this apart, and one or two things is going to happen. Parts are going to fall out everywhere and be broken, and then the parts are going to go on back order, and then I'm probably going to be buying her a new quad to race with for the next race. Or I'm going to pull it apart and not see anything wrong and have no idea what to do next. But yeah, that's the plan. Now I got all these bolts loose. I think that we're going to want to take this off so that we can just kind of that cover off and leave that output shaft right there. And then I think there's like an alignment dowel that's catching over here somewhere. It's a little tight over there. So we're going to go ahead and grab the snap ring pliers and get that right out of there first, and then we'll pull the cover off. So I picked up these fancy snap ring pliers with the changeable tips, and there's an internal and external lever on it. Some kind of magical thing, I don't know, I haven't figured it quite out yet. Oop, something just happened there. Yeah, now they're... So apparently when they're on internal, you just lock it up and they don't move. That seems about right. And then, oh, now it's open. Now they don't move either. Yeah, I don't get this. So I'm just gonna kind of give these a wiggle them, and then Jeremiah's gonna get in here and he's gonna try to pop that out. So we got that out. There, it looks like there's a little washer behind it. We'll try to get that out now. Now where'd I put the snap ring? There. We'll go ahead and put them together. See, this workbench is one of them fancy ones. It's got these different pockets for your tools and parts built right in it, so that's pretty nice. And then you can have another one over here for your bolts, and you don't got to worry about losing them. A little bit of wiggle in here. Whoa! Whoop! Something fell out. That's probably not good. There's a washer or something. Got a couple of washers. Got some bearings. Looks like we got a little bit of mud in here. That really shouldn't be in there, I wouldn't think. Transmission really isn't too complicated at all. So we're just gonna see if we see anything that's just wallered out. I don't see any gears that look real hammered or anything. They look pretty good. There's no teeth laying here in the bottom anywhere. Nothing seems terrible here. I mean, you do got some shavings. You can see maybe you can see the glint, the reflection, the metal flake in there in the earls. But I don't see anything terrible. Let me keep looking. So I think we found our problem. If you look there, the needle bearing there is a little distorted on the bottom part. It's kind of bent up. You got some pieces in there that don't quite look right. So we're definitely going to be replacing that. We'll see if we can get this bearing as well. So I think we're just going to go ahead and order this bearing for sure. And this bearing if I can find it. And then probably a new gasket. And we'll call it good. So Grace's parts came in. We had to rush order these. Nobody had the bearings in stock except for somebody on eBay that charged like $30 for shipping, so that was great. But we did get them fairly quickly. So I went ahead and got the needle bearing that was bad and the bearing next to it. I also ordered a couple of seals for it and a gasket. The seals and gasket I was able to get through Rocky Mountain ATV for much more reasonable shipping price. There's a couple different ways you can do this. Right now I have it setting in the vise. We're going to put a socket in there and just try tapping it out because we know that other bearing comes out this way. And then we'll be able to see which way the seal comes out. We're going to go ahead and get the outer ball bearing out first. Okay, you're going to want to find yourself a socket that'll just slip through the needle bearing, but it'll hit on the ball bearing. So now we're just going to give it some real light taps. Okay, it's out. Okay, so I took a snap ring out of a groove right there on top of that needle bearing, and I'm not even sure why it was there, but I don't know if you can see, the needle bearing has quite a little bit of damage to it. So it's tomorrow now. I've taken this apart and cleaned everything. I did that off camera. You can see it looks all shiny and pretty now and all the metal residue is gone. So I did find another problem while I was doing that. I'll show you what I found. I thought I just had a bearing problem, but I don't think that was even it. I don't think that bearing is good, but I don't think that was what was causing my noise. So here's what I found when I took this apart to clean it. You can see there's a snap ring right there, and it's holding this gear, the big gear, down against this gear. And what it does is when you shift it, it locks these in either one or the other of these gears. What was happening is this gear was walking over and hitting here because there was nothing holding it back. So I went ahead and replaced that snap ring. And then what you had to do was take this off, and then this collar is kind of a real light press fit. And then I was able to take everything off this end, clean it, put it back on, put a new snap ring in, and then just keep putting it together. So that's where we're at now. We've got all this done. All I need to do currently is put the new bearings and seals in the cover. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in right now. A real good idea, if you're gonna be working on stuff like this, it's real easy to forget how it goes together. If you go on RockyMountainATVMC.com and you go under the like OEM parts, you can find these breakdowns, and I just did a print screen and printed this out so I can look and see how it all goes back together, just in case I forget. I just took my pre-greased needle bearing. I pulled it right out of the package and it had a little bit of grease in it. I'm just gonna tap it down in there a ways and then put my snap ring back in there for it to hit against. Okay, I'm just gonna get this snap ring popped in here now. That was easy enough. And then I'm just gonna continue driving this down until I hit that snap ring. Not too hard though. So as you can see now, the needle bearing is right up against the snap ring. Now we're gonna plop that seal in there. So I'm just gonna take this seal, get it started down in there, take this socket, just find a socket that's the right size, and then we'll just try to help it out. Probably give it just a couple of taps. I'm gonna have to set this down, but I'll give it a couple taps with a hammer. Okay, it's down in there now. Now we just have to put the new bearing in. Now that I've probably already marred up the sealing surface a little bit, I went ahead and put a board under it. We just want to get this down to where our O-ring, to where our snap ring will fit in there. So there's our washer. And here's our snap ring to go on here. Then we'll be ready to bolt this back on the engine. Here it is, all ready to go back in. We just got to put the seal in here. Okay, don't forget to put these washers on before you put the case on. There and there. And then we're going to go ahead and set the gasket on. It has these nice dowels to hold it on. And then we're just going to wiggle and make sure everything gets on here correctly. We're just having a little bit of trouble getting started right there. It's on perfect now. Everything looks good. Just going to go ahead and put the bolts in now. So we decided what we're going to do is just give her a Mountain Dew. No, not really. We've got some of the good stuff for it. This is fake dinosaurs. So this is the good stuff here. So it calls for 6 ounces. We don't have 6 ounces. I don't know anything to measure it, but we got 7.5 here. I figure hopefully we'll get 6 of it in, maybe a hair more. So no Mountain Dew was harmed in making this video. I figured it's much easier to add this now rather than when it's in the quad. Okay, we're ready to throw this back in the frame. I can't wait to get this in and fired up so that she can try out our new trail. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and get this engine in and get everything hooked up now. Okay, so we got it all back together. We were trying to do a time lapse on it, but apparently the battery went dead on the camera. So it's pretty late now. I still got Grace out here with me. We're gonna go ahead and fire it up, and she's gonna take it for a spin tomorrow, and hopefully we don't have any more marbles in the transmission. So Grace is gonna fire it up now. You can just stand next to it and fire it up. You don't have to climb on it.
Okay.
Okay, turn the key on. Okay, Grace, bring the thunder.
I wouldn't say that.
So we're running. So I think she's set. We'll resume this tomorrow. It's already past Grace's bedtime and my bedtime, and I don't think the neighbors would appreciate her tearing up the yard right now. So it seems to be all fixed, working better. I don't hear any loud, obnoxious noises from the transmission, so we're gonna call that good. Thanks for watching.